out there. Hope you all had a good weekend. Don't turn it off. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm going to just see who's here and then I'm going to start the story. I won't chop and change. I don't know what's happened here. I won't be chopping and changing. As soon as I start the story, you don't have to worry about me chopping and changing between it. Or if you'd like to join my Patreon, it's patreon.com/destroys5472. I'm just going to say a quick hello to anyone in the live, if there's anyone there, and then we'll start the story. Let me just get Mick in the frame. Hey sis, hey Hayley, hey Warwick, how are we all? We all had a good weekend. What have you all been up to? Are you feeling better, sis? Are you feeling a bit better now? How are we all? I don't know what the hair's doing this evening. So it's got a bit of a... It doesn't know what's going on this evening at all. It doesn't know what's happening. But, yeah. Anyone do anything good? Oh, God. God, I've got a Rob C. Nesbitt going on. I don't know what it's doing. The fans causing a whole thing. So, no, I don't know what's happened. But tell me, how was your weekends, guys? How was you? It's Jess's story tonight, so we've got to hang on for her. Oh, no. Oh, I bet it's 10 times worse than yours, isn't it? It's got to be. Has to be worse. It's got to be worse than yours. The man flu is in effect. It's in full effect, man. Oh, hi, Phil. Oh, he was working on Saturday. Did you get to have a chill on Sunday, though? No, nothing, Warwick. Oh, of course he is. Of course he is, sis. Of course he is. You've got to be there, on hand and foot, waiting. What was I going to say? I was going to say something now. What did I want to tell you all now? I wanted to tell you all something. I can't remember what it is. Oh, God. Well, that's going to bug me. Because I had something to tell you, and now I can't remember. Oh. I have both of those ready to keep. And that was good. I didn't catch on at first. That was a good one. Oh, that's good, Phil. That's good. Oh, good. I'm trying. Do you know what it is? I'm all faffed because I didn't change my jumper. So I know I'm going to be dying through the live. If it seems I'm a little bit distracted, I'm just, as I was about to go live, I was like, no, I did not change the jumper. Because you need it in the day, but when I'm sat here talking to you, you're just going to see it all go. Oh, thank you very much. It's, I don't know what it's doing at the minute. It's gone all bum. I don't know what's happening. So thank you. I don't know what it looks on there, but in real life, it doesn't look very good. But it had to be tied up. It had gone crazy. The weather's all gone mad. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, let's move me because he looks a little bit faff there. Oh, I've got a stray cat that keeps coming to visit us. He visited us on Saturday, Big Ginger, and turned up again tonight. So I gave him a bit of food. I know, I'm naughty. But it's so cold. It's so cold. And I don't know if he's hungry. And he's got a little broken ear. And he just looks all scruffy. So I've been a bit naughty and I've been fed. Do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he's getting fed from every house round here. I wouldn't be surprised. But I know, he's so lovely. And you know, we knew that there was a cat going into the gazebo because on the pool table, there's ginger hairs on the pool table. So we think he's going in there on the night. But then he'll run when you go out. But now, when we open the front door, he's just there looking at us. But he won't come in. So just a thought, but shouldn't your lippy shade match your nails? No, because red lipstick doesn't suit me. And pink, I'm not a massive fan of pink nails. They don't suit my nails. So Do you know what? You've got a very good point, Warwick. But no, no, red lipstick's never suited me. It washes my face out completely. But very well spotted. Very well spotted, but no. Oh God. I wouldn't have said that. I wouldn't have said that, but I don't know, maybe. She seems to be on form tonight, Warwick. Good luck. Good luck. What did Phil say then? I missed what Phil said. What did Phil say then? I'm going to work on Saturday. I get Wednesday just before it off. Ooh, that's nice. That's nice. That's a nice break. You know how I feel, Phil. I still don't get how you can do it on a Saturday. It's like, no Saturdays. Saturday's my day, man. Do you know what it is? Never said, she never said there was anything wrong with it. She just stated a fact. Oh, it's not a fact. Oh, God, I'm getting roped in myself now. I didn't say it. I've got no part of it. Where is Jessica? This is her story tonight. She wasn't with us on Thursday either, was she? I know she commented afterwards, which was very nice, but I hope she comes in because this is her story that she's requested. I know she's requested a couple, but I'll be honest, I couldn't remember two of them. That's what I always says, just stating facts. It's not. I've got to stop saying that. It's not a fact, but she didn't actually say it. Anyway, do we know this one, guys? Very, very sad. I'm going to devastate us all, as I do on a Tuesday and Thursday. I keep going to put my fan on. It keeps trashing my hair, and then I keep getting hot again. But, what was I going to say? I mentioned about the kitty cat. But there was something else. What was it now? It's bugging me. I can't remember. And I thought, oh, I'll have to mention that to them. Do you know what, though, Warwick? I did do them because I was very conscious the other day that I hadn't done them. So they are done tonight. I know we moved on from that subject, but still, just thought I'd let you know. I did do them. I can't. Do you know, I've already been told to do it, but if I change the jumper, I have to start the hair again. And I don't know how, it took a while. So if I change, because it's a polar neck, if I take the jumper off, all of this is going to go to pop. So I'm going to say, I think I don't mind the Saturdays because I'm not really a social creature. Oh, do you know what, Phil? I think it's just from... It's from when my younger days when I'd go out on a Friday and Saturday. I think that's all it is. Not that I do that anymore. So I think it's just it's ingrained in me now that to be against Saturdays. But to be honest, it wouldn't be a problem for me now because I don't go out. The most I go out is on a Sunday. Love you, but couldn't. Well, why bring them up then? You brought them up. You started it. So I carried it on. You seemed to show an interest, which I thought was quite kind. But anyway, fine. Won't discuss them again. Should I tell you about my knee? Should I talk about my knee instead? Anyway, the knee, I've got to go back because the other one's now come up. So you're going to see me shuffling about where I sit for quite a long time tonight. Hopefully not, though. Hopefully not. I've given myself a bit more room this evening. So hopefully you won't see me shuffling from one side of the camera to the other. But we'll say, very loud this evening. I feel like I'm very loud. I haven't even got my earpiece still in, so I don't know why that is. I feel like I am very loud tonight, though. But we're nearly... The kicking out has started. I know. What was I going to say, though? Yes. We're nearly 10 minutes in. I'm going to have to start. I don't know where she is. So we're going to have to start, and she'll hopefully catch up with it maybe later or tomorrow or something. But it is Jessica's story, it is her request. So, but we're going to have to begin. Got kicked completely. Oh God, I'm so slow. Is that what's happening? Is it happening to anyone else, or is it just you? Is it your phone? Or is it just you? Seems alright from this end. Has anyone else been kicked out? Have you had your bins emptied? Yeah, why? They didn't last week. They didn't went disappearing for 2 weeks, I think. But yeah, they have. They did them as get done on a Monday. Why? Why? I'm trying to think why you'd ask that. I don't know if there's another point to that, but I don't think so. I don't think so. Why is he asking that? Tell me why you're asking that. Because I don't want to say what I think you're asking. Oh, yeah. Is that what happened? See, I don't follow some things. I follow a lot and then I miss things. What, are they on strike? They came yesterday. That'll be why they weren't emptied last week. I thought it was because of Christmas and New Year. I did. No, he wasn't. He wasn't. He was being serious this time. Um, okay, I'll keep an eye on it, but we're all right here as far as I know. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully it's not me because I have to start the live all over again. So I'm kind of hoping not. But I'm gonna begin then. I'm gonna start because we've hung on. We've hung on a long time for Madam, but sometimes she comes in halfway through, doesn't she? So I'm going to begin, guys. So I'm going to do my little intro again. Yeah, we'll start. So, if that's all right with all of you lot, I'm going to begin now. So, let's fix the hair. Let's try and fix the hair a little bit. Do you know, I forget that people watch this as well. I really do. I think it's just us guys. I always do it. And then I'm doing it fresh for somebody else. It's just terrible. So, okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to my channel, True Crime with Jess Rose. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm here every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. If you would like to join my Patreon, it's patreon.com/JessRose5472. Yeah, tonight's story, just to let you know, it is a child. Obviously understand if that's not for you. I know it can be quite hard when it is a child, so it is just to let you know before I start. But if you're okay to listen to it, I'm going to start now. So it's the Unsettling Riley Sawyers Baby Grace story. Okay, so we're going to start with Robert and Kimberly. So we've got Kimberly Trainer and we've got Robert Sawyers. All right. Now, Robert and Kimberly, they both went to Mentor High School. And this is in Mentor, Ohio. It's an American story. Okay. Now, they started getting on in some sort of sports class or something, and they started seeing each other, but very, very quickly, while Riley was while Kimberly was still only 15 and Robert was 16, so they're very young, she does get pregnant. Okay, now Kimberly and Robert both enrolled in a school program that helps teenage parents graduate. So they do both try, even though they're about to be teenage parents, they both do try to finish their exams and stuff so they can graduate. Okay, now Kimberly did end up graduating, but Robert, he actually left left school at 16. It says, the reason I stuttered then, I know it's different to here, and it said he dropped out in his junior year. I think that's 16 to 17, I believe. But he drops out so he can go to work, so he can provide for his new little family. Okay. Now, Kimberly, like I say, she did graduate, and he does go on to graduate at a later time. Okay. Now, little Riley Ann Sawyers, she's born on the 11th of March 2005. Okay. Now, a beautiful little girl. Beautiful little girl, little blonde hair, blue eyed, little beautiful little girl. Said she was very girly. She loved the colour pink. I've seen somewhere that she liked little Elmo. She was supposed to just be a very outgoing, very cute little girl, very well behaved, so it's said as well. Now, Kimberly, Robert, and Riley all live in Robert's family home. Okay. Now, his mum, Cheryl, absolutely dotes on Riley. Now, it must have been a shock for her with a 16-year-old son coming back and saying, "Oh, by the way, you're about to be an aunt." But she dotes on Riley. She takes in Kimberly. I believe Kimberly's family wasn't too impressed with her getting pregnant at 15, so she moves in with them, and that's how all that came about. Now, the young family, they get on well, Robert and Kimberly do, to begin with. Now, I can imagine the pressure of having a baby at that young age, living together with your parents. It's a lot of pressure. I can well believe that. And the cracks do start to show quite quickly in their relationship. They start arguing more and more, and they do clash. They do. The two of them do. Both dote on Riley, and obviously Cheryl, Robert's mum, which would be Riley's grandmother. Riley, very, very loved little girl, but her parents just weren't getting on. So we get to October 2006. Riley at this point is about 19 months old, and Kimberly ends things with Robert. Okay, so they were together, like I say, just over. I think she caught for Riley quite quickly, so I don't even think they were together 2 years in total. Now, Kimberly and Riley continue to live with the family, Robert's family, and Robert himself. Just Kimberly and Robert aren't a couple anymore. Now, Robert very quickly does go on to start a new relationship with a girl called Catherine Priester. Now, Robert and Catherine very quickly announced they're having a baby, which would make their baby Riley's half-brother, because they go on to have a son. Okay. So living in the Sawyers family home is obviously Robert's parents, along with Robert, his new girlfriend Catherine, with their new baby, with his daughter and his ex-girlfriend Kimberly. It's a lot. And you would think Catherine and Kimberly wouldn't actually get on. You would think so. But they do. They do get on. I think possibly Catherine sees Kimberly's no threat to her relationship. She apparently dotes on Riley herself, and she babysits for Riley. Catherine does. It sounds very mature, to be honest, considering these are all teenagers. It sounds very, very mature how they all choose to get on in this circumstance. Now, like I say, they all get on. So Robert and Catherine actually then get married quite quickly as well. So now Kimberly is now living with her daughter Riley, with Riley's dad, his new wife, their new son, and Robert's parents. It's quite odd. To me, it'd be like, oh, that's a bit much. But don't forget, these are very, very young adults. Very young adults. And I think maybe with Kimberly not having anybody and, you know, for her, from her side, having that support with Riley, it just worked. It just worked at the beginning. Okay. Now, uh, Riley herself, around this point, she's 2 now. Everyone says she's a very well behaved toddler, as I've said. She's very cute, she's very funny, she's very clever. Adorable little girl. You need to go and have a look at her. Very, very cute little girl. Now, around this point, Robert may be seeing that Kimberly, she hasn't gone on to meet anyone at this point, and maybe see she's a bit bored, maybe, I don't know. But he introduces her to a game called World of Warcraft. Now, I'm going to be honest, I don't know the game. I don't know if that makes me a terrible person, but I don't know this particular game. But apparently it's very much, from what I could see in the clips I could see of it, it's very much like a, oh God, I'm going to get strung up for this, but like a Dungeons and Dragons and witches and wizards type deal and flowing things. Oh God, I've just butchered a game that people probably absolutely idolise, but that's the game he introduces her to. Well, quite quickly she becomes obsessed with this game. Quite obsessed with it. And she would play for hours at a time. Hours, okay? Now, Cheryl, obviously, which is Riley's nan, she becomes more and more the person that Riley would go to during these times when Kimberly would be playing the game. Now, I believe it started off just during the nights, but it had started to be during the day. She'd ask people to bring her food, like takeaways during the day. It very quickly became an obsession to her, so where her care of Riley did start to become she started to become neglectful of Riley. Now, I'm not saying Riley was neglected because she had so many people that were looking out for her and looking after her. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying by her mum she was, because she was so wrapped up in this world. Apparently it's a whole new world. It's like a whole world that you build in this game, and you build like a character avatar type thing, and you know, you can disappear into this world, and unfortunately that's what she was doing. So now Kimberly had begun chatting to a man called Royce Ziegler II, okay, who she met on this game. Now, he had like a character as well that he played, but you can talk to these, so you're talking as the character, but it's you talking to them. So she'd started to get to know Royce through this game. Now, Royce was 23 and he lived in Houston, Texas. He worked for an oil company, I believe. Now, as their online relationship became more intense, she started to begin to talk to the family about it. Cheryl, I believe. I don't know if she spoke to Robert about him, but you know, they did hear about Royce. I don't believe they took him too seriously. They obviously just believed, he's someone she's met on the game. Robert had obviously introduced her to this game, so of course you're going to meet people that you may talk to, and they may be the opposite sex, and I don't think they read too much into it at that time. Okay, now he actually come to visit Kimberly. Oh, don't forget, she lives in Ohio. He lives in Texas. Now, it was around this point that they realised it wasn't just an online attraction. They were actually physically attracted in real life. Now, we get to March 2007, and Kimberly actually goes to the police, and a domestic violence charge is issued against Robert. Apparently it was something daft, like he'd gone for her because of parking, something really, really daft. Now, the domestic violence charge was dismissed for lesser charges and stuff. But we get to May 2007. This I'm very confused about because at this point they're all still living in the same house. So bit confused about this part, but there's a custody hearing over Riley. Okay. Kimberly won full custody of Riley. Now, I don't know if it's because Robert had gone on to marry. Don't forget he's met, Catherine. At this point, they've married. They've gone on to have a child. Even though they all get on very well, I don't know if Kimberly maybe thought because they're a more, I suppose you could say, secure family unit. Maybe she was concerned that he'd go on to get custody of Riley. I don't know, but that's what happened, and she was given full custody. Okay. Now, Kimberly, at this point, she's 18 years old. All right. She moves out of the Sawyers home at this point, and she takes Riley with her. Okay. But she doesn't tell any of them where she's going. Now, the family themselves, they think she's probably gone local. They probably don't think she's gone far. Don't forget, she hasn't really had a massive relationship with her family, as far as I can gather, as far as I've looked into. The only family really around that time was the Sawyers family. So they would, you wouldn't expect them not to believe she was still local. Anyway, she wasn't. She'd actually taken Riley to Texas to be with Royce. Now, I've got that she met Royce once. I've heard somewhere else she'd met him twice. But even if we go to the latter one and she's met him twice, she's uprooted her 2-year-old little girl from everything she's known, from her nan, her dad, her stepmom, her little brother. She's uprooted her from all of that and moved her to another state, to a man that Riley doesn't know. She doesn't know Royce. I don't even know if Riley was with Kimberly when she met Royce. So I don't know if the first time in meeting Royce was when she moved there. I mean, first time Riley meeting him. So I just thought, ridiculous, so impulsive. And you can see that she is, even though I was saying how mature everything seemed in the situation, originally, I think this shows a level of immaturity where so impulsive to just get up with her daughter in tow and drag her to another state to be with someone she didn't really know. She knew him on a game. Okay, now, 6 days later, Kimberly and Royce apply for a marriage license. Okay? And they'd moved into a home together. They'd rented a place. We get to the 1st of June 2007. Kimberly and Royce get married. Okay, it's all very quick. Was he living with Robert and Catherine? Maybe Kimberly had wanted that. I don't know. Or maybe she just fully believed, like, this is love at first sight and they're going to live, in fairy tale land. I don't know. But like I say, they get married. Now, Nellie Ziegler is Royce's mum. Okay. Now, she meets Kimberly. Obviously, Kimberly comes with a little girl. Now, Nellie, upon meeting Riley, she fell in love with her. Nellie's partner, I've heard, wasn't too keen on the whole situation. Maybe thinking, quite rightly, it's all quite soon and, this is a bit much, them getting married, she's already got a child, you can understand his concern. But Nellie, like I say, straight away falls head over heels for Riley. Right to the point where, because don't forget, this would technically be her new step granddaughter. And she would babysit this little girl very quickly. She took her in under her wing very quickly. Robert and Cheryl, obviously Robert being Riley's dad, Cheryl being his mum, Riley's grandmother, they're losing their absolute minds at this point because they don't know where they've gone. They don't know where Kimberly and Riley are. Now, I presume they'd be worried about Kimberly as well, but obviously the majority of their concern is for Riley. She's all they've known. I mean, they are all she's known for 2 years since she was born, and she's just been whisked away. And it must have been awful for them. So they do hire a lawyer, but because Kimberly got full custody just before she up sticks and left, they haven't got a leg to stand on, really. And don't forget, they can't prove she's moved out of state. Now, I know that's something that they can kick off about, but the fact that they haven't seen Riley, they really can't, they're not getting very far. Now, they keep trying to contact Kimberly, they're trying everything, but it takes the lawyer that they've hired, he finds Kimberly's full name, because she's applied for a driving license in Texas. So that's when they realise, one, that's where she is, and two, they're like, she must be with that Royce, because they would have known he was from Texas. So they put two and two together, they connect it all. So eventually, when they are able to get hold of Kimberly and they start to ask, when can we see Riley? Can we at least talk to her? There's constantly excuses. She's busy. She's napping. She's out. She's playing. She's asleep. There's so many excuses given as to why no, they can't speak to Riley, and they don't get to. And I just can't imagine how that would feel. Just having your child just dragged away from you and not knowing where she is and not even being able to speak. Oh, it must have been so frustrating. Now, from the other side in Texas with Royce and Kimberly, Royce quite quickly, he begins to start getting quite strict with Riley. Okay. And he insists that Kimberly does the same. He's quite insistent upon this. He doesn't feel that Riley's showing them the correct level of respect. That as a 2-year-old, she's 2, he doesn't feel she's showing them the right amount of respect. He feels that she should be calling him sir and Kimberly ma'am. not Mum, and not Royce, because of course she's not going to call him Dad, but she should be calling him Sir. It's crazy. Now, I've heard that Royce himself was from a very strict upbringing himself. His dad was quite beyond strict. He was very for physical punishments with his children. And it's been said that Royce, given the fact that that's how he was brought, I don't give that excuse, to be honest, because it's said that that's because he was brought up that way. That's why he believed that that's how children should be brought up. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Because if you're from, and I've heard it said that he was from an abusive home, that doesn't automatically mean that you are then going to go on and be abusive to your children, or certainly a child that doesn't even belong to you. But Royce, well, he felt differently, and he wanted Riley to start receiving physical punishments from Kimberly. Originally, it was just from Kimberly, but he was quite insistent upon it. It was said, he said to a work colleague that he felt that Riley was a brat. And, when they'd go out in public, he didn't believe that her behaviour was that of a respectful child. She was too. She's a toddler. Toddlers don't listen to anybody. They're a law completely unto themselves. Literally unto themselves. Anyone who's been around a toddler ever knows that toddlers they're crazy. They do as they please. It's just how they are. And yes, you can try and rein them in, especially if you see something they're doing might put them in danger, things like that. But no, he wanted more than that from Kimberly. He wanted actual physical punishments beyond a tap on the hand, maybe, if Riley was in danger of any sort. No. This wasn't about that. This was about him trying to insist and force respect upon this child. Okay? So it escalates to a belt being used to discipline this 2-year-old little girl. It escalated very, very quickly to this. Oh, God. Now, Nellie, remember, this is Royce's mum, who had very quickly begun to dote on little Riley. She visited Royce and Kimberly the once, and when it took a while for Kimberly to answer the door, but when she answered the door, she had a belt in her hand, so it didn't look great. And then shortly after that, when she was babysitting for the couple, she was changing Riley's nappy, and she noticed that her bum was black and blue, which she was fuming about. She was not happy about this at all. So when Royce and Kimberly came to collect Riley, she gave them both what for. She was fuming over it. And they apologised and they said, look, all right, we'll back off on the discipline, we'll back off on that, on the belt and everything else. It's fine. All right, we'll stop doing that. Well, it's not that they stopped. It's just they stopped Nellie seeing her. It's like they wanted to make sure that Riley wasn't seen by anybody anymore. They just wanted to make sure that no one could judge them on how they were now bringing Riley up. I'm sure, like Kimberly, to be honest, it's crazy because it was said that, all right, she became a little bit neglectful when she'd started playing that Warcraft. What was it? What was the game called? Sorry. Oh God, World of Warcraft. Sorry. All right, it said that she had become, neglectful of Riley to a degree while she was completely engrossed in this game, but she was never physically abusive to Riley whatsoever. She never put her hands on Riley. Neither did Robert. It just wasn't something that Riley had experienced. So this poor little girl must have, I mean, what kind of shock would that be to a 2-year-old to be just ripped away from the only family she's known, the only person now with her that that she loves and that she can feel security with, her mum, the hands are up, and this mum has, I believe, she must have felt she turned on her. She completely turned on her because now her mum's whipping her with a belt, all on the say-so of this man who decided that this toddler wasn't being respectful enough. That was all it was. It said that Riley she wasn't a naughty girl. This is him saying this. Everyone else who'd been around Riley said she was a really well-behaved little girl, even as a toddler. Okay, now Nellie, Royce's mum, after they'd had this running, of course she still wants to see Riley. And just like with the Sawyers, excuses start to be made as to why she can't see Riley. So now this is 2 grandmothers, a step-grandmother and a biological one, that have been ripped away from this little girl. And now she's just left with Kimberly and Royce, her so-called mum and stepdad. Okay, now the excuses to Nellie had gone much like the Sawyers, but then it went to, well, she's gone back to live with her dad anyway. So that's how far they went with the excuses, because unlike the Sawyers, Nellie knew where they lived. She could go around and just knock on. So they had ready-made excuses, and now it's like, well, she's not here at all. Where is Riley? Where is she then? We come to the 29th of October 2007. Okay? Now remember, 29th of October 2007. Remember, Kimberly and Royce only got married on the 1st of June 2007. She only left the Sawyers in May 2007. So we've got May, June, July, August, September, October. 6 months. Okay? There's a fisherman in Galveston Bay in Texas. Okay, just a fisherman, early hours of the morning. And he finds a blue container. It's called a tote, I believe. But it's a blue container. Okay? And, of course, curiosity. He looks in this container and he sees black bags surrounded by cement. And as he rips open the black bags, he sees a tiny flashing trainer. The little flashing shoes you can get for toddlers. And he sees this and he backs away from the container and he calls the police, and it's the Galveston County Sheriff's Office he calls. Okay? And when they come out, there's two names I'm going to say to you now. Jimmy Gillane and Greg Haynes. Okay. Now, I've watched it's kind of a program. It's like a series called The Evidence Room. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Oh, and these two men, from the minute we're going to get to what I'm talking to you about, all the way through, they break your heart, these two men do. Because when they arrive to Galveston Bay, okay, the fisherman points out the container and he doesn't want any part of it. The fisherman doesn't. He kind of knows what he's just seen and he doesn't want to see it anymore. So he doesn't come over. So they walk over and they look in the bag, and sure enough, there's a little trainer. And Jimmy says he recognises the trainer because he just bought a pair for his niece. And he sees the size of them. So he knows, he knew these were flashing trainers, because like I say, he just bought a pair of these for his niece. And when he opens up the bag more, he sees a little leg. Okay. So they take the container and they open it up, and there's the decomposed, oh God, there's decomposed body of a little girl. Okay. So the early autopsy at the time was very hard because of decomposition. All right. But what the pathology sees is that there are 3 fractures to this baby's skull. Bree is kind of sees damage to the spine, but the autopsy continues. Now, the police themselves in that sheriff's office, they don't want to call this little girl Jane Doe. They don't want to. They don't want to give her that name, of just the name that's given to anyone who they can't name there and then. They don't want to identify, there and then. They don't want to do that. So they call her Baby Grace. Okay? So, and what they promise Baby Grace is that they will bring her home, to where she belongs. They make this promise to this little girl that they found. Okay. Now, what they do, they bring in a woman called Laurie Gibson, okay, to do a sketch of Baby Grace. Now, Laurie Gibson, I've got to admit, when I first saw her talking about this case, I wasn't sure what to make of her. She seemed quite flippant only for a second, but it was the first impression I got of her. And it wasn't her being flippant at all. It wasn't. It was, I presume, if you are having to do sketches of not missing people, but people who are found, bodies that are found that you haven't got an identity for, and you need to put a sketch of that person out, hoping someone will come by and say, yes, that's my daughter, or that's my son, or that's so-and-so. You would become desensitized, but she wasn't desensitized to this baby at all. She wasn't. She even said her little girl was around the same age herself. And she said it just broke her heart having to draw the sketch. And she, remember the decomposition that I mentioned, the picture she draws of Baby Grace, she's kind of filling it in. It's not what she's seeing Oh, it's just heartbreaking to watch. It really is. Her explanation of it is so so sad. Um, so she does the drawing of what she believes the little girl will look like. Like say, she had a little girl of the same age. And then they go to press and they run the picture of baby Grace nationwide. Nationwide, they send this picture out everywhere because they can't believe that someone's not looking for this little girl. Now, because of the bay where it was, it's kind of a desolate bay where where the container was found with baby Grace in it. Um, and apparently where this bay has come from, the body of water that runs into the bay can come from anywhere. It can come from as far up as New York. So they don't know where this little girl's come from. And unfortunately, these police officers do say that they do have a lot of people, unfortunately, come into that body of water that they've had to identify over the years. So they weren't sure where this little girl had come from. So they, like I say, they send this image nationwide, and straight away hundreds upon hundreds of calls come into their offices, and they're trying to work through it all. Now, because this was 2007, if you remember, I believe it was July. Oh God, was it July or August? I'm sure it was July, or was it the 7th of August, or was it 8th of July? Madeleine McCann was abducted that year. So a lot of people were coming through. Now, this sketch was a little girl with blonde hair, blue eyes in the sketch. And a lot of people were coming forward to say, you know, could this be Madeleine McCann? And of course, they checked, no, it wasn't. You know, so that's where a lot of tips were coming into it. On the 6th of November 2007, a memorial was actually set up by the local community around a place called Tiki Island, you know, to remember this little girl. No one had come forward still just yet. And, you know, they had been a 2-year-old little girl just washing up in this bay. It was breaking the heart of everyone involved. Now, Nellie, don't forget this is Royce's mum, she sees the sketch. And after she found out that Robert hasn't got Riley, don't forget this is what Royce and Kimberly told her, Riley's gone back to her dad. She finds out that Riley didn't go back to her dad. And she approaches the couple, and they end up having a really big row, to the point where Kimberly stands up quite aggressively at Nellie, basically saying, you know, what are you accusing us of? And, you know, what are you talking about? She has gone back to her dad. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're on about. Then comes the story of, okay, she has gone missing, but we think she's with her dad. We believe she's with her dad. Now, what was a little bit frustrating about this is Nellie didn't call the police at that moment in time. Obviously, she's had a face-to-face with them. Maybe she believed what they were saying. I don't know. But she doesn't come forward to the police of her suspicions. But we do have another grandmother in the mist, don't we? Which is Cheryl Sawyer, Robert's mum, Riley's dad's mum, her grandmother, okay? And she sees the sketch apparently only 3 days after the sketch is sent nationwide. And she knew that Kimberly hadn't moved far from that Galveston Bay. She knew that she hadn't moved too far from there. She knew it was in around about the area. So she calls the police in Galveston and she tells them, look, my granddaughter's, I haven't seen my granddaughter in 6 months. You know, we haven't been able to speak to her. We haven't been able to talk to her. The sketch looks, there's a likeness there. Can you just go and do a welfare check and just, basically, I think she would have just wanted to be, had a mind put at rest, to be honest. But a welfare check is done for Riley, okay? And Kimberly tries to say that Riley's with Cheryl. It was Cheryl who phoned the police. So how can Riley be with her? So the police straight away are like, say it again. So it's, you know, there's questions there. Then she tries to say, oh, it's with Riley's with a cousin, and it's not, you know, it's not what it looks like, and all of this sort of stuff. But police aren't having it, and they want a DNA sample. They request that DNA sample, both from Robert and from Kimberly. Okay, to see if Riley is baby Grace. All right, now we get to the 23rd of November 2007. Now remember the deputies I mentioned, Greg Haynes and Jimmy Gillane. Now, when they go in, when they go to, oh my God, put your teeth back in, Jessica. When Kimberly goes in to bring the DNA sample in, she goes in to bring a statement in as well. And she goes to talk to deputies Greg Haynes and Jimmy Gillane. Okay? Now, they just think they're there to take a statement. Okay? They're not 100% sure what's happened, what's going on here. So they sit down with Kimberly. And originally, they're sort of talking, and for about half an hour she kind of tells them about her relationship with Royce and how it was with Riley, and they're just sitting there and they're listening, and they're like, okay, they know the DNA sample's been brought in and everything else. And then all of a sudden, out the blue, it would seem, she turns round and she says, Riley's baby Grace. Just like that. And the police are like, I mean, I would presume they had a fair inkling, but to hear her say it like that really took them back. And basically, she begins to tell them what happened once she moved in with Royce, okay? Her version of events, should we say, okay? Now, she says that everything was great at first, but Royce and Royce didn't get involved in any discipline with Riley, none at all. But he started saying things to her like, you know, you shouldn't let her get away with that. And, you know, she's very disrespectful. He started getting in her ear. And then, in some sort of strop of his, he said, right, I can't cope with this. And he threatens to leave her. He threatens to leave Kimberly. So then she's like, right, okay, trust me. I can discipline her. I can do it. So all of a sudden then, in order to keep this man, she'd met twice. She'd met him twice before this. We're only talking within the first month of them being together. She starts disciplining. I'm going to do this, disciplining Riley. And it's straight away, it's with a belt. The belt comes into play straight away, like I told you. And this is what she's telling the police. But then she says, then he starts using a belt on Riley. He makes a list of rules that she has to call him sir, ma'am, the please and thank you. You know, doing as she's told. Just real. Now, if this child was 11 or 12, then these list of rules would have been perfectly acceptable. They're perfectly what you would expect from a child to, you know, follow. Not that you would follow it up by beating the life out of them with a belt if they didn't do what they were told. But still, that would be what you would expect from a child of that age. A 2-year-old, not so much. She's not going to get it. She's not going to understand. So we get to July the 24th, 2007. All right. Royce decided to stay off work on this day. Okay. And apparently Riley had said, I want, instead of can I have or may I have, or I want apparently wasn't allowed. That beginning of a sentence wasn't allowed in their house. And that's all it took. Royce lost it, completely lost it with this little girl. And he says to Kimberly, we need to break her. We need to break her. She's 2. And they beat Riley. They take turns beating this child all day long. All day. Every time she screams, she's beaten harder. He says, right, okay, she's still not learning. And he makes Kimberly, well, he tells Kimberly to run a very, very cold bath. And every time Riley screams, they drag her into that bathroom and they dunk her head under the water. Both of them do it. Kimberly holds her down while he pushes her head under the water, and vice versa. Every time she screams. Now, halfway through this absolute torture session, Royce believes that maybe she might have had enough. His child's battered black and blue. But he believes, she might have had enough now. And Kimberly tries to give her some Tylenol. I think it's like a Calpol. And she can't take it. She doesn't, apparently Riley never liked this Tylenol. It would make her gag. She didn't like it. Oh, wow. Took that as utmost disrespect, didn't he? So, apparently, even though he'd said she'd had enough for today, which is what he'd said, sorry, that's why he stopped, she's had enough, because she didn't take the Tylenol for the pain she was in, because of the beatings these had inflicted, he goes and gets a thicker belt. He gets a bigger one. And then little Riley, she goes, okay, I'll take it, Mummy. I'll take it. On about the Tylenol. It's too late. He'd already laid in. And then he starts dunking her head under the water again. And as she gets out of the bath, I don't know if the belt was around her neck or he whips it around her neck, but he yanks her back so fast and so hard that she slams her head straight off the marble floor. And Kimberly says she heard the crack. Doesn't stop them though. You might think, God, that'd be like a, let's stop. No. We're not going to stop there. And when she's still screaming from obviously the pain she's in, they take her back into the bathroom. And while they're dunking her under the water, she says, I love you, Mummy. The policeman I was telling you about, Jimmy, when he's telling this, I don't know if it was Greg or Jimmy at the time when they're repeating this. I've seen the interrogation of this waste of space as well. I'm talking about a so-called mother at the moment. When he's repeating that, he does have to stop, because he couldn't believe that this is what she was telling him. And she says, I love you, Mummy. And Roy says she's just trying to control you. She's trying to control you, and Kimberly believes him. And they carry on whipping her. Oh. Then it gets to a point where Riley can't walk anymore. It's been going on all day long. All day. And then, like I say, she can't walk anymore. And Royce then thinks, actually, she might be bad. We might have gone too far. She didn't think they had a couple of hours beforehand, but now, so maybe we've gone a bit too far. And they tried to give her Tylenol again, and she can't take it. She's choking it. And he realises he's gone too far. So then little Riley becomes unresponsive. And apparently Kimberly says we need to phone an ambulance. But he refuses. This little girl's black and blue. So he's like, we can't call the police. The ambulance, sorry. They'll call the police. So he tries to give her CPR, but it's too late. It was too late. And like I say, on the 24th of July 2007, Riley Sawyers passed away. Okay, so you might be like, well, did they phone the ambulance then? No. Now they go into self-protection. Let's try and pretend none of this happened. So Royce puts little Riley in the bath. Okay, empty bath. It's empty now. He covers her with like a blanket, and they go to Walmart, and they buy a chain, a shovel, bleach, cement, and black bags. Okay, and then when they get back, they scrub her down with bleach, and they even they put bleach down her throat because he'd give her CPR. He wanted to get rid of all fingerprints, all evidence of this little girl. Apparently he's very into crime shows, and he followed them quite closely. So he felt he knew what he needed to do. Okay. And Mummy Dearest, you might be like, well, where's she in all this? Well, Mummy Dearest is cleaning her daughter with bleach too. But she insists that they dress her. They dress her daughter. You know, can't have her not with any clothes on. I mean, come on. And they put her in pink, which was obviously Riley's favourite colour. And they put on the little flashing trainers that the fisherman first seen when he opened those black bags. And as bad as apparently she was feeling at the time, because don't forget, we're hearing all of this in Kimberly's interrogation. As bad as she was feeling, she held the black bags while Royce put her little baby girl into them. And then they put her into the container, pour cement around it, and they put the chain around it, and then they put it in a shed, their shed. And they leave Riley there for about 2 months. Because you might have noticed the date from when Riley passed to when she was found. She passed in the July, she wasn't found till the October. They kept her in their shed for up to 2 months, it was said. And she said that they did try a couple of times to bury her, but apparently the ground was too hard in one of the places they went to. and then another place where they were going to go, where they were going to throw her off a particular bridge. They couldn't be certain that she would hit the water, and she might land on the dirt. So they needed to make sure she'd go into the water. So they brought her back again. Apparently there was a man they brought round to fix their computer at one point, who was questioned after the fact, and he said he could smell something in that house. He didn't know what it was at the time, of course. It was only after the fact. And there's another person that was devastated because they didn't realise that's what they were smelling at the time. Oh God. And then after about 2 months, they threw her off the old causeway, the Galveston Bridge, and in between then they'd got rid of everything that little girl owned. Everything. All clothes, shoes, toys, pictures, everything. Now that was Kimberly's interview. They then bring Royce in. They obviously, once this got out, those two police officers, they send out a officer to go and bring him in straight away in case he was going to run. They bring him in. He blames Kimberly. He says, look, I weren't at work. I was feeling poorly. I had no part of it. I heard her shouting, but, I had no part of it, so I don't know. So he was putting it all at her thing. I've just had someone come back to me, and I don't know if I mentioned it. But apparently Royce had said to Kimberly, we've got to break her. Don't know if I mentioned that. On the day they were torturing this child, we have to break her. I don't know if I mentioned that. Now, they're both charged with injury to a child and tampering with evidence. Okay. The DNA comes back, and baby Grace was confirmed to be Riley Sawyers. Okay. We get to the 2nd of February 2009. Now, there was no death penalty put on the table, purely because the district attorney said they'd win it on appeal. Okay. So they didn't go for that, but eventually, on the 2nd of February 2009, like I say, there was no death penalty applied for, but Kimberly was found guilty of capital homicide. She was tampering with a body. She was given life without parole. And on the 6th of November 2009, Royce was found guilty of capital homicide. He was also given life without parole. They've had the audacity to appeal a few times since. All of them have been unsuccessful. Now, on the 6th, in June 2008, so while they were awaiting their trial, Kimberly had been pregnant, and she gave birth to a baby boy in prison. I'm presuming it was Royce's. I would say so. The child was taken straight away, has been adopted, and the file has been closed. So that child she'll never be able to find that child, which is the best thing for that little boy. On the 14th of January 2008, the cremated remains of little Riley was returned to the Sawyers. Robert and his mum Cheryl. Obviously his new wife as well. She doted on Riley too. Greg Haynes and Jimmy Gillane, that I've mentioned many times during this, that just, they seem to have more love for this little girl than her own mother did. It's crazy. So many people involved did. Laurie, the sketch artist, they all seem to talk about Riley, who baby Grace they'd named, and then obviously they then realised that it's Riley Sawyers. They just showed her so much more love than her mum ever did. And Greg and Jimmy, obviously, who'd been involved from the beginning, they'd made the promise, hadn't they, to her that they'd bring her home, and obviously they did. And they were pallbearers. Now, I know it says cremated remains, but when she got home, she was given a proper burial service. And they were pallbearers at her funeral. Now, the island in Galveston Bay, where she was found, has been renamed as Riley's Island. And on her headstone, it does say a few things, but it says, I thought it was lovely, plotted on earth to bloom in heaven. Just thought it was really lovely. That's written on the gravestone. And there was candles on the day of her funeral. There was candles lit around the world. This little girl touched so many people. And Riley's granddad, Cheryl's husband, actually said that she's not just our baby anymore, she's the world's baby, which I thought, oh, it's just such a sad story. And so when you think about it, it was less than 3 months, if the dates are right, less than 3 months, she survived under Mummy's new husband. It just didn't take him long at all to be able to convince Kimberly, well, no, we need to beat this. We need to break her. We need to break this little girl. Just an awful. Kimberly was just a waste of space, waste of space. I don't know if that worked. But, yeah, that was the Unsettling Riley Sawyers Baby Grace story. Oh, just awful story. Such a shame. But thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Like I say, I'm here every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. if you'd like to join us on the live. Yeah, and just thank you so much for joining me. If you'd like to subscribe, that would be lovely. But thank you very, very much. And I'll be back on Thursday. Thank you. Thank you so much. Take care. Thank you. How are we all? I didn't even know how to end that then. My God, I didn't even know how to end that then. That was a real... Where are we? How are we? Oh, thank you, Hayley. Thank you. How have we been doing? Did Jessica come in the end? Or did she miss it completely? Be a shame if she did, but I suppose she can watch it afterwards, but I haven't seen it. Oh, did she not? What have you done to her? Mind you, she did comment, didn't she? She did comment on Thursday, so maybe she just couldn't make it. Maybe she just couldn't. We haven't seen her since Christmas, have we? So, but it was her story, so I hope she does get to watch it, because she requested that a few times, I think. Ah, thank you, Warwick. How have we been? How have we all been in the comments? Have we all been playing nicely? Oh, I know, it did with me, sis, it did. Oh, God, I need to try and jiggle my leg around. No, it did with me, this one. It was just the fact when she said, I love you, Mummy, how that didn't snap that mum out of whatever spell she was under him, how that didn't snap her out of it, I'll never know. I'll never know. I don't get it. I don't understand it at all. Absolutely heartbreaking. Gorgeous, just adorable little girl as well. Really was such a shame. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I've, is Phil still here as well? Still think the lippy should match. Now, are you still going? You just said you didn't care about me nails. You said you didn't care. Oh, thank you, Phil. Thank you. I did. I kept on. Do you know what it was? Because I knew what was coming, at certain parts, my brain would go off. And like, I'd be like, we're not there yet. And I'd have to bring my brain back to where we were. But like, my brain kept going, well, probably about 2 or 3 times. And I was like, they're going to be like, all right, put your stutter away. But it weren't. It was like, I kept on going off a little bit. So, sorry about that. But it's because I knew what was coming. It's like, oh, God, it's just awful. It's just awful, awful, awful stuff. But, yeah, leave my nails alone anyway. You said you don't want to talk about my nails. Leave them alone. Did I see Mum in as well? I think I saw Mum come in. I think I'd started though, so I couldn't say hi. Oh no, really? Oh, has that happened a lot then? Oh, that's a shame. Have you been keeping... has it been okay though? Has it been alright in there? I'll have a look. I'll have a look later. But, yeah, he's had been quite quiet this evening, I think. Although I did see them moving quite quickly at one point. I was like, oh, what's going on? But it's only when I see him moving quickly, you sort of catch me eye then. I'm like, what's happening? What's happening in there? I've tried. You tried what, sausage? What do you mean? Oh, to keep it nice. To keep it... Oh, have you been fighting? Are you fighting? Why would he hate you? Or why was he not hate you? What's going on? What's happening? Or has she not been on the ball? Is that what it is, Warwick? Is that what's happened? She not been moderator extraordinaire this evening? Mind you, Hayley's here. Hayley's been in. I don't know what's happened. Oh, that's a bit funky. I've just noticed that oh no, they don't. I thought sorry, playing with me earphones while I'm still on the live. Got completely. Oh, I'll tell you what hasn't helped either is the hocking. I'm so sorry. I've still got a really bad chest. And every now and again I'll be like, I'd try and clear my throat and I'll be like, oh God, that sounds terrible. But I can't do anything. Oh, I wouldn't have thought you was, Phil. I wouldn't have thought you would. And keeps... Oh, got you. Got you. Oh, no, it seems like we've all been playing nice anyway. I don't know about... We haven't seen Sharon in a while either, have we? Haven't seen Sharon in a... Have we seen Sharon since we come back? I think we've seen her once, haven't we? I haven't seen Sharon. I wonder if it's... You know when you go off for a couple of weeks and then you just lose people? Like Kelly. Where's Kelly gone? Kelly's left us all. It's all we're just down to the... We're down to the... What do you call it now? What would you call us? The last ones standing? We're the last ones standing now. I don't know where everyone is, but it's just us. It's just us guys now, so you can't leave me. You're dancing like Bambi. What did I ask? What did I say? What did I say for you to say you're dancing like Bambi? I can't. What did I say to me? Dancing like Bambi. No, you've got me. You've lost me. It'll probably come to me afterwards, but at the minute I'm being slow, I think. Am I being slow? I think I am. Yeah, she did say, she kind of, it was all hit and miss after the turkey, wasn't it? She did. A goat. See, goat. Bambi a goat. A deer. Oh God, she thinks she's very clever, this one. She really does. You got me though, you got me. You did get me. I don't know what I thought of goat. I don't know. Can I honestly tell you all a real I know. Can I give you all a real it's really bad, but I've never watched Bambi. Is that really bad? I just heard it's really sad. Like doesn't his mum die or something? So I've never watched it. It was like I think E.T. I watched E.T. when I was about 4 and it traumatised me. So anything that was slightly upset. I've never watched The Lion King either. Oh no, I've never sat and watched The Lion King either. Anything like that. I can't watch King Kong. Just and Free Willy. Anything like that. It just devastates me. I can't watch them. Considering look at the channel I've got. But anything to do with any animals in any sort of, even animated, I just can't do it. I just can't. Oh, okay, not just me then. Excellent. Is yours for the same reason as mine though? Is it because you would cry? Because I can't imagine it's for the same reason. But I think that's my Johnny 5, Short Circuit 2, I cry at. Whales swim. I throw myself around. I feel I know what she's saying. I feel like I do, but I don't. I can't. I can't. I can't encourage you. I just can't. Bet you've watched King Dong. Look at me saying it out loud, Warwick. On that note, you had to get me to say it out loud, didn't I? I've been ever so good lately. Right, on that note, is it jingle time? I think it's jingle time because my leg, it feels swollen. I'll show yous, but not today. I know. It's jingle time, Phil. We're doing it. I've got to get my kids to bed. So, thank you all for joining me, guys. And if you could go in and like and comment. Tiffany, you didn't comment the other day. You didn't comment. Just Phil and Warwick. Every time they're there and they comment every time. You didn't. So, except for... oh. Stop it. Okay. So, thank you all so much for joining me. If you'd like to join my Patreon, it's patreon.com/JessRose54. I'm going to kill her. JessRose5472. Thank you all so much. If you could drop a comment in, I'd really appreciate it. Hayley, you never do it either. You have to drop in a comment. But thank you all so much. I'm going to kill her, honestly. Yeah. She's terrible. Thank you all so much for joining me. And you like, comment, subscribe, guys. I'd really appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe, guys. Please, like, comment, subscribe. And I'm here on Thursday. But thank you all so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. And get your phone fixed for Thursday, Nobber. And have a good couple of days, guys. And yes, I will, I'll see you on Thursday. Thank you all so much again. Take care, guys. Bye. Like, comment, subscribe, guys. Like, comment.